My, now ex-boyfriend, 37M, has a wife and kids and is begging me to not tell, plus we have an apartment together that I can't afford alone. Hi Reddit. I'm 26 and clearly I was deceived. I've been dating Jim for 2 years. He traveled a lot for work because he works in pharma, and in New York City it's fairly normal for an adult to be living that single/traveling/focus on career life well into their 30s, so no red flags went up when we met. He was never secretive with his phone, but turns out that's because he had 2 phones. Everything seemed normal. Days he wasn't traveling we often spent the night together in both my and his apartment, so it's not like only we're together in my apartment, which would be a major sign, which turned out to be a pied-à-terre he and his wife owned before they moved to NYC full-time and is not currently being rented. So it seemed to fit the narrative, having a small apartment because he's not home often. We moved in together 6 months ago and signed a lease together. Same thing, he's traveling half the week. Living together raised a couple red flags, such as some phone calls he took outside, but he just said because he needed to ensure no interruptions for work calls. We planned life together and I thought I found the guy I was going to be with, especially as he reassured me of a future with less travel. I never questioned his travel because he genuinely booked flights in front of me regularly and just never went. He spent so much money booking trips he never went to so he could go home to be with his wife, and I'm sure he booked some to be with me in front of his wife. He also said he was an only child and his parents lived in Germany, so I never met them, and again that doesn't strike me as weird because he only met my parents 2 or 3 times and we all live a couple hours away. I'm not close with them and assumed he wasn't either, and it didn't seem off to me. Or I'd in isolation it made sense, but now that everything is out it seems painfully obvious. Anyway, he left the wrong phone at home one day and it got an incoming call with a photo of a woman at the park with a kid as her image. I didn't answer because I never really had a reason to suspect him and figured he forgot his phone. However, he called me from his cell phone number, which I thought I had sitting at the apartment, so I asked him, I thought you forgot your phone. There's one here. And he said it's just a work phone, but his work phone is an Android. It had a password so I couldn't unlock it, but he came home and I pressed him more about it. He said I have no reason to distrust him and I just don't remember his work phone. He said he didn't want to sleep here and booked a hotel room since I clearly didn't trust him and he needed time to cool off. He tried to come back on Monday and figured I wouldn't mention it apparently, but I did and asked him to unlock his phone. He refused and we argued about it for maybe an hour, and then that same woman called. I demanded he answer it and he refused, so we started fighting over the phone because I wanted to pick up, and although the call didn't answer, the whole thing became obvious. I tell him to leave obviously, then he tells me he wants to meet up and talk and I do, and he basically tells me everything, and he thought he was going to leave her but he never did. Then we got too deep for him to step back, again nonsense. I told him I didn't want to see him ever again, but he begged me not to tell his wife. To be honest, telling his wife never even crossed my mind. All I was thinking is that I'm in a lease I can't afford alone with a man I thought I was going to marry. My life felt like it was falling apart and I didn't even begin to digest that. Him telling me not to tell his wife then made me feel guilty for never even considering it, and now I'm not sure if it's my place. A part of me just wants to end this whole chapter of my life but the other part of me is thinking this woman is spending her life with a pathological liar and cheater and she doesn't even know. Places where I need guidance. 1. Do I tell his wife? 2. Do I make him to keep paying his part of the lease? Won't that be considered me willingly being involved with more infidelity even if we only take care of the money? I feel like out of respect for his wife I should end all contact, but then I don't know how I'll pay for the full apartment. 3. I'm humiliated and don't want to tell friends and family. Will they eventually find out? Is it better to just explain everything sooner, or is after the holidays appropriate? TLDR, my ex turned out to have a wife and kids and lied to me for 2 years. I don't know whether or not to tell his wife or how I should move forward since we have a lease together. Edit. Yes, we are both on the lease legally. Edit 2. He has no history of violence or even aggressive tendencies, but this whole reveal makes me reliably afraid of him in general, and that's my hesitation regarding telling his wife. Hi guys, I promise to love you if you like, comment, and subscribe. First, Talk to the landlord and tell them that you've broken up and ask to get out of the lease early. Offer to clean up the place and show the apartment if need be. If the landlord is adamant about sticking to the lease, email your ex and tell him he owes you X amount for his half of the rent until the lease is up. Get it all up front. Then tell the wife. Make sure you do it while a friend is around and stay with the friend, or other family/friends, for a while later. After you tell the wife, cut all contact. You don't want this guy coming back into your life. It's up to you whether or not you'd like to tell your friends. Simply that you've broken up should be enough for most, but maybe for yourself you should confide in someone you trust. Tell the wife. A one-time indiscretion can be chalked up to a mistake. A 2-year-long affair shows complete disregard for all the women, and child, in his life. He deserves to be alone. I found out my boyfriend was cheating by finding his post on Reddit. To start, I 22F, started dating a guy, 21M, from my university 2.5 years ago. It was going great for 2 years, I thought of him as my life partner and best friend. However, he's always been secretive with his phone, and 4 months ago while he was napping I took his phone and found out he made a Tinder profile, matched with a girl, and texted her for a few days while we were having our 2-year anniversary. I like him so much I let that go. I was really stupid and stupidly thought, I don't want 2 years to go to waste. However, the time after that, he seemed to lost more and more interest in me, getting very annoyed and angry at me when I would ask for simple things, like if we could go on a date or if I could get some emotional support from him. The other night, while he was sleeping, I looked through his phone again. I opened his Reddit app and found a ton, of recorded romance of specific type of girls saved, that look very different from me. He also had posts of looking for girls for hookups and mouth romances from girls in the area. When I confronted him, he told me that he didn't remember making that at all and he didn't mean that at all. I tell him I want to be friends, but he wants more than that. He helped me with a lot of things I couldn't do on my own. Am I wrong for breaking a 2.5-year relationship and asking to remain friends? I feel trapped. Am I normal for being upset about a lot of recorded romance of one type that looks so different from me? Edit. I've also offered an open relationship in the past a few times, which he's declined. I really wish this was a poop posting, but it's not. TL, doctor, went through my boyfriend's phone and found him making posts looking for girls in the area. Get some self-worth. He's been actively seeking out opportunities to cheat on you. He doesn't value you or your relationship. You deserve someone who is thankful every day that you're their girlfriend. Get rid of him and find someone who is faithful and appreciates you. Don't confuse a man desiring you for a man valuing you. Those are two totally different things. He doesn't deserve you as a friend, let alone be in a relationship with you. Leave him, start fresh, find yourself and be happy. You deserve it.